Welcome to the Help, I Have a Narcissist in My Life podcast. I'm Laurel Slade Wagoner, and this is episode 60. What is it like to go through the divorce process with someone who's narcissistic? This episode is a taped conversation between myself and my good friend and colleague, Dr. David Clark. Many of you might be familiar with Dr. Clark's work. We've taped several conversations together in the past. This has been something that we've wanted to talk about for quite some time, actually. This video is a fun conversation. It's not as formal as my normal episodes, where Dr. Clark and I discuss the divorce process with someone who's narcissistic. If you have read either of my books, you know that I have been through a divorce with someone who is narcissistic. So I have firsthand knowledge of just how exasperating and horrible it can be. So in this video, we touch on topics like biblical reasons for divorce, the bad advice sometimes we get from well-meaning people in the church, what to expect through the divorce process, what kind of behaviors narcissists usually exhibit through that divorce process, what you can do to get through it, and what you can do to help your kids get through it. I hope and pray that this conversation gives you just extremely useful guidance and helps you understand that the narcissist in your life is not unstoppable, and that God has answers for every single dilemma that you will face as you go through this divorce process. If you like these conversations, let us know. Comment in the comment section on this video or commenting on our social media. Perhaps Dr. Clark and I can make it a regular thing. As I say quite often, you are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not powerless. God will help you get through this divorce process and experience victory, freedom, and healing in His way and in His time. You too will be able to speak the words of Psalm 129:4 with confidence and gratitude. But the Lord is righteous. He has cut me free from the cords of the wicked. And now here's my conversation with Dr. Clark. Well, I know we've done joint podcasts before.
We have.
And I love doing them because you have such a heart for the same people I have a heart for. So,
me too. It's always great fun.
Yeah.
Who cares about the content? Of course, it'll be excellent, but we're going to have fun anyway.
Yeah. And I think God has taken our careers in the same way. We have different styles sometimes, but we have the same heart.
What do you mean? I'm the sweetest person in the world.
You are.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And you get people in touch with their righteous anger.
I do. That's one of my gifts.
Yeah.
But we're tracking. We've talked about this. We're great friends too. But professionally, yet nobody else is doing what we're doing.
No.
Nobody else seems to get it.
No. And I think that is so important because I think when you're going through something with someone who is narcissistic, you feel like nobody will understand.
Right.
And you're told oftentimes that you're crazy or you're overreacting or all these kinds of things by your support system.
Right.
You know,
and even Christian counselors, pastor, even friends, they don't have a clue. You're drowning and they're throwing you an anchor.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And what I've seen, I don't know if you've seen this happen, is that culture's kind of stolen the word narcissist and diluted it. So then, or even emotional abuse or gaslighting or any of these terms.
Oh, it's being used for everything.
Yeah.
That's not even close to what we're talking about.
And then when these precious clients go to a pastor, if they work the biblical steps like they're supposed to work and get the witnesses and take it to the church, then they're kind of being marginalized and dismissed because, it's just gaslighting. So they don't have
no
any
big
bruises.
deal.
Yeah.
Right.
And
when if they lived a week with that dirtball, they get it.
Yeah.
It is emotional destruction. Well, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about as someone with a personality disorder, they will not change. They have that cognitive rigidity and they just are not open to doing things in a different way, in a respectful way, and stop abusing. They're just not open to it. So sometimes we have to divorce.
Yeah, sometimes we do. Are you saying that God can't change the narcissist? Don't you love that question when you get that?
That's when I say anybody can change with Christ. We can, but they will not change. They use their free will to not change.
Right. They have no desire to change. Plus, as you know, many of them don't even know Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, they say they do. Everybody at church would come to their funeral, but they don't even know Jesus.
Nor do they want to. They just will not surrender. They want to hang on to that control.
When you can be your own God, which is basically what's happening, hey.
Have you heard of communal narcissism?
No, what's that about?
I think it's a newer term that's coming up. But communal narcissism is where they portray out to the public being very altruistic, serving a lot, maybe even on boards or being a deacon or in a church, but they're doing it to get that affirmation because
they don't care about the community.
The narcissists have an excessive need for affirmation. So, and then they're very different behind closed doors to their spouse and children.
Awful. Oh yeah, that's that covert sort of type, right? Oh yeah, the church loves them, community loves them.
Exactly.
Right.
And so it's very hard for people the victims of that kind of abuse to get the help that they need.
Right. That's why we're focused on getting these dear ladies, mostly the ladies, ready for the backlash and the horror of the divorce process. It is beyond rough.
So you probably work with more people that are going through a divorce than I do.
I've got quite a few. Of course, I'm tailing them to divorce. So I guess that's what happens. Once I get the story and we got a monster on our hands, no change, 20 years, 10 years, whatever, enough. And once they make that decision, then getting through the process is also very important because it will be nightmarish.
So what will it be like?
Oh, well, first of all, in your own, you'll be told a lot of things. And of course, the narc who doesn't want to be divorced, doesn't want to lose face, doesn't want to lose his money, reputation, control, all that. So he's not going to want it. So the first thing you have to face, once you've made that decision and he knows about it, well, then I'm so sorry, I'll change.
Yeah.
That's the first hurdle. And it's a big one because they're so masterfully, manipulative.
They are.
They will look like King David in sackcloth and ashes. I can't believe I'm broken. Bogus.
Yeah. So they're sorry for themselves. They're sorry for the consequence. They're sorry they have to jump through these hoops and do some things differently. Yeah. But it's not... They never get to that inside out change. They don't have a heart like David in Psalm 51.
No, not even close. I'll say, look, if you'll hold the line and say, I don't care, which doesn't seem very Christ-like, but I could, because the church will think it's the greatest thing in the world. Oh, he's so repentant. You say, look, I don't care. End of story. Not mean, repent all you want, I don't care. He will turn on you like a snake.
Yes.
He'll do it for a week or two, maybe a month or two, just so other people will say, look how repentant he is, and you're not forgiving him. But then he'll drop it, and he will come after you.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
You've seen it. They're vicious.
And that's what when I work with people, yes, I tell them, sometimes you have to file for divorce because if he knows you're serious about these boundaries, then the true character will come out at that time. And so otherwise he's just giving and box checking to get something.
Right.
He's not into control. He's just not.
And what a thrill for the narc. You've seen this. If you're my wife and I've treated you terribly and you're divorcing me, but if I can get you to drop the divorce and come back to me, well, then I've delegitimized everything you've said about me. That's a lie. Well, she came back to me, so what she was saying was not true. You lose most of your support team.
Yes.
Oh, the kids are thinking, really, Mom?
Yeah.
I thought that you were going to, and I am loving it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to treat you worse than I ever did.
Yeah. Because they're smart. They know what works. They know. Yeah. So they pay attention to what happens. So you're giving them an emotional reward for manipulation, for abuse.
Yeah. And of course, it might last a week or two, and then they just turn on you. Yeah. And you have to, of course, I talk to these dear ladies, so do you. Okay, you're going to have to start over. Don't have any regrets. Too late for that. You went back. You shouldn't have. Okay, and the church was applauding you. Okay, drop the church you're in if they get that information or advice, and then you're going to have to start over. It's going to be harder. You're still going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Because these poor ladies, they want to believe what he's selling.
Well, and he's so good.
All the things you've always wanted laid out.
And that's exactly what they do. Yeah. And so maybe they'll leave a Bible out So it looks like he's reading the Bible.
When they haven't cracked a Bible in years.
Yeah. Or they will go to counseling. I see this a lot. They abuse the counseling process. Right. So it's just box checking. They're there just to say that they went, but they're not really absorbing wisdom. They're not there. You've seen clients come in that are hungry and thirsty for righteousness, where they come in and they take notes on their phone.
They're ready to work.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not how someone who, a narcissist who is regretful, they're regretful, they're not repentant.
Right. So if you can, these have to hold the line. And of course, it's a big distraction. And usually you've seen this as I'm faking you with the repentance, and you're kind of stalling and not sure. If I'm the narc, I'm getting my ducks in a row. Yeah. Just in case this goes south. Well, you want to do as much in secret as you can, of course, before the guy even knows you're divorcing him. Mm-hmm. Oh, he'll find out eventually, of course, but if you can do a lot of financial moves and getting the kids ready before he knows, even better.
And the reason we do that, it's not paying them back for them doing those things, because I work with a lot of people who, when they're going through the divorce process, the narcissist is hiding money, not being honest, will lie on the financial affidavit, different things like that. This isn't you taking money and putting it in an account that he doesn't have access to. That is in response to his narcissism.
And you're protecting yourself.
You have to protect yourself and to protect those kids.
Right.
You have to be able to provide for them, because he's going to try to control you.
He will. He'll leave you with 10 cents under a bridge abutment and sleep at night. Mm-hmm. No, you hold the line. Of course, a tough, mean attorney is critical. Gutter fighter. We've seen these wimpy attorneys. Yeah. Oh, for heaven's sake. They'll give the whole farm away.
I really wish that they would teach about personality disorders in law school, so the attorneys know how to deal with it.
Most of the attorneys are personality disordered anyway. They should understand that completely.
There's some good ones, though.
There are.
We've got
a few locally here, right? Yeah. But man, there's so many that are just like Christian counselors, losers, or they're wimpy. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're sweet people. Yeah. They're not dealing with a normal divorce between two adults that, okay, it didn't work out, but they're going to be responsible about it.
Yes.
This isn't even close.
And I'll tell people, research the high-powered attorneys in your state of residence, and pay for 2 or 3 of those attorneys an hour of their time. Right. Go and load it with your questions, just because some of them are equipped to deal with it, but maybe you don't want to hire them, or they're not in your local area. But as long as they're in your state, then they can give you information, and you could take it back and take that information and work with the attorney and educate your attorney. So even if you feel like your attorney is not doing you justice, you can pull in some extra help. There's always extra help, I say.
Well, there is. It's like a workman at your home. Anyone that's serving you, you've got to stay on them, or they may not do the job you want them to do. Yeah. You've got to be up on it. But yeah, I've had a lot of ladies having to fire an attorney because it's just been a waste of time. Yeah. Wimpy. Mm-hmm. I understand narcs. No, they don't. You want to get somebody tough who wants to fight for you and who wants to win. Not a sleaze. The narc will have his own sleaze attorney, of course. Happens every time. But you want someone tough, firm.
And someone who's resourced with, because sometimes you need other eyes on the circumstance, because they're so manipulative and they're so dishonest. So you need an attorney that is connected with a parent coordinator, maybe with a guardian ad litem.
Right, that they can trust.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So that there's a team or parent evaluator, and those are expensive, and that's kind of a last resort, but definitely a parent coordinator and a guardian ad litem that can advocate on behalf of the child. What?
We've seen nightmares with these guardian ad litem. Some are just terrible. Won over by the narc in the first 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. And then you're the abuser. And he believes all the lies. So the attorney, he's got, when you sit down with him or her, he's got to believe you.
Yes. And
100%.
And I recommend to people, ask the attorney, do some attorney shopping, ask the attorney what they know about coercive control, ask the attorney what they know about parental alienation, and see what their experience is with that. Because those are the two things I think that happen. There's all this coercion that happens through the divorce process.
And if there are kids involved, of course it's money, but it's also the kids. Yeah, they should be answer those questions just like that. Mm-hmm. If there's a pause, thank you for your time.
Right.
I am out of here.
Same thing when interviewing for a Christian counselor. You want someone that understands power dynamics and understands personality disorders. that doesn't prioritize the marriage over the well-being of the partners.
Right. This marriage is trash. There is no marriage here, but the Christian counselor or the the church people, oh yeah, the marriage means everything. Too bad if you're destroyed. Yeah. But God will honor you and be pleased if you just stay. No, he won't be. Why would that honor God?
Well, and I tell people also that that's not loving that narcissistic individual. Love is tough. And so that's not what God does. God does not draw near to those who are proud. He does not draw near to the wicked. So
the Bible's clear on that.
Yes.
Quite the opposite.
Right. He pulls back his presence, and we have to pull back our presence. And sometimes you have to go through a divorce. And
you do. And if the guy, they'll say, oh, but what if he eventually changes, and really repents, and maybe he'll be a great husband to somebody else? I say, number one, he ain't changing. Yeah. Don't worry. Number two, if he actually does, great.
Yeah.
That would be a miracle. You're already divorced. It's a separate operation. Wouldn't I have to take him back? No, you can have to trust him again.
Yeah.
So we're not wishing bad things on him. No, I mean, it's up to him. Now, you'll pray some pretty tough prayers. I have my ladies pray tough prayers during the process because you're in a war and God's fighting for you. But in the aftermath, as you heal and recover, no, whatever he does is fine.
Right.
It shouldn't affect you because you're done with him.
Right. And if things are wonderful and he is really repentant and there's a long-standing pattern of repentance that he is willing to do those things because he wants to be a changed person, then maybe in the future years down the road, God does bring you back together. But I say act as if and proceed as if he's not going to change.
Right. And you're already divorced. God would have to appear to you in a vision.
Yeah.
Or the Michael, the angel, I don't know, to make it really clear. But yeah, it would take a long time for you to believe that. And biblically, you don't have to. You could take him back. You don't have to. You can be done.
And I would say, just being transparent, that was one thing I didn't really understand the difference of someone who is just regretful or sorry for self and box checking versus someone who is authentically repentant and really wants to be a changed person for the sake of being a changed person. And so I don't want people to waste years of their life taking someone back unless there is that long-standing pattern of repentance and them not getting anything for their changes.
All right. And it's so easy because you want to believe it's true and to stay. Who wants to get divorced? Nobody, really. But yeah, there are times when you simply have no choice. That's what we're talking about. So if we believe that the Bible teaches that you can divorce a narc, and you can, 1 Corinthians 7:15, and then you get past the fake repentance, the con job, the regret and sorrow thing, then of course, and the nuts and bolts we're talking about, just to have the right attorney, and before the guy knows what's happening, you're ready to make those money moves, and I'll tell these ladies now, whatever the state law says, but if it's a no-fault state, half is yours.
Exactly.
I guess there's maybe some states where there's a certain, if you've been married so many years, whatever, the attorney will know all that. But right before you leave or just after, you can, if he doesn't know by then, you take the money. Because he's not going to give it to you. Eventually, 2 years from now,
right?
Because he'll drag it out, you'll get it, but maybe.
Right, which is something else to expect in the divorce process. That they'll drag it out. So you have to set yourself up for financial independence.
Absolutely.
You have to kind of see the one flesh is ripped in half, and you have to learn how to operate in a prudent way.
Can't count on him to support you in any way. So if you take that money, your training, job, you may have to rearrange your life, but you want to be able to support yourself. Here and there, I'll talk to a lady who has tremendous support from family, and the family happens to have money, and so they will help her, but that's rare. Most of us don't have $5 million in the bank, and so you're going to be kind of on your own. And the narc, if he's got more money than you, he probably does, he'll drag it out.
Well, and also one other thing that I've learned a lot about recently, and it's kind of in this circumstance myself, was that there are forensic accountants out there, because a lot of people who struggle with narcissism, they're drawn to careers where they're entrepreneurs. They own a lot of corporations, sometimes multiple corporations. They're hiding money all over the place. And so you have to hire a forensic accountant. There's also certified financial certified divorce financial analysts, which are a little bit more inexpensive than forensic accountants. But that's why I just don't want these beautiful, precious people to stay stuck because they think this narcissistic, maybe affluent partner is going to overpower them and they'll get nothing. So there is help out there.
Yeah, you got to find it. The right attorney will have those connections, those relationships. And if you can, I got a lady right now I'm talking to. I've talked to her a couple of times on the phone, and she's going to divorce the guy. But it's been 30 years. This won't surprise you, Lori, because you work with the ladies all the time, but she has no idea what he makes, what the investments are. She has no passwords. She's locked out of everything.
That's a lot of my clientele.
It's like, and of course I said, go to him. And of course, the narc won't respond to anything. I said, look, if of course, narcs will never die. They don't think they're going to die. I said, go to him and say, just to check it off the list, I'm not leaving you. I'm not divorcing you. Both lies. Who cares? These are Rahab lies, and Joshua too. Anyway, but what if you die of a heart attack today or get hit by a car when he laughed her off? I need to know. I'm not taking anything, another lie, but I have to have access because it'll be a nightmare for me when he blew her off. He could care less. It's okay. You're going to compel that legally then. You have every right. This is not the Middle East. You can compel that. That'll be part of her process to force compliance because she has every right to know where the money is.
Exactly. And if they won't, then that's where you can get legal and do what they call a post-nup. Instead of a prenup before you're married, a post-nup. Yeah. So you can get something like that in order.
I think you need, and that's, of course, the guy's not an idiot. He'll know what you're up to. You're probably leaving him tough. You'll still lie about that. But I'm going to find this out.
Exactly.
Come on.
So I would say, do you see that keeps a lot of people stuck? Because I work with a lot of people who are stuck and who they're just paralyzed. They're frozen because they think there is no way I'm going to get up against this person and be able to be okay. I'm just not.
Right. They've always been controlled, intimidated. Right. That's why with this lady I'm working with her, okay, there's things you can do to find out where the money. She's been married 30 years. He probably got it stashed here and there. Going to have to find out where it is and all that. But at the same time, job, she doesn't want to work. Job, income from other sources. You've got to have something coming in. Because it may be a while. You divorce a guy like this, it's going to take 2 or 3 years. He'll make it happen. So yeah, it's a miserable process. And a lot of them will think, well, is it really worth it? Maybe I should just, stay.
I see that a lot too.
I say no, and 100% no. It's just killing you, and God wants you out.
Or they'll think, I need to stay for the kids.
Right.
Where I'll say, maybe you need to leave for the kids.
Exactly. It's quite the opposite. He is turning those kids against you. The boys are learning how to be a narc, and the girls are going to date and marry narcs.
Yes.
And you've seen this, and the kids will, then not respect you.
Right.
Because you're dominated, and they'll gravitate to the narc, because he's stronger, even though he's awful. And so that you're losing the kids now. You're not helping them.
And when I was seeing a lot of kids and teens in the office, I'm doing the phone appointments now with people around the country, but when I was seeing the kids and teens, the narcissistic parent would bribe, they would triangulate against the non-narcissistic parent. So you have to come up with plans of action and work with your kids so that what you're talking about doesn't happen. Right.
That's all part of that preparation process, having the kids staying close to them, but telling them the truth about dad. Yes. Not to trash him. Simply, here's Dad said, go with evidence. Dad said, Dad did this. Not biblical, sinful, wrong. When Dad said that was a lie. So it's all getting them to realize, there's two sides here.
You just brought something up that's really important. Narcissists emotionally condition the children to take responsibility for their feelings. And so the children will protect that narcissist, and that just leaves your heart and your mind stunned. You just don't know what to do with that if you're that non-narcissistic parent.
Well, right. So. That's why when you file, you don't want to do that suddenly and the kids not know, because dad is so upset. Dad is just broken. They're at a different level. They're not married to him. They don't quite get it. We want them to understand that prior to. And I say, look, you tell the kids, if they're a little older, I am in no way, I'm not going to interrupt your relationship with your father. You're going to see him, 50-50, whatever it's going to be. I won't trash him. He'll trash. Of course, he'll trash you, but I'll never trash him. I'll tell the truth about him, but you're going to be able to see him. But he's going to twist them. Mom's breaking up the family.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
No, he's already done that. What's his name? Your father. Kids don't want to hear that, of course. So you may have some time, that part of that preparation, even if you're ready to divorce, maybe the kids aren't quite yet. So we want to make sure they're on the team here.
And that's where I explain it using that Joshua 24:15 scripture. So if serving the Lord is undesirable to you, you are free to choose what gods you serve. So sitting the kids down and having, I call it a security talk, telling them this is what's going on. I gave your father, let's just say the masculine tense. There's lots of female narcissists out there too, but the masculine tense. I gave him an opportunity. I really hope and pray that he makes these changes. If he doesn't, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have to separate.
Let them start adjusting. Right.
Exactly. And then they trust you. That's such an important step because then the kids know you're telling them truth. So it's easier for them when they get hit with all of those lies from the narcissistic parent. They're like, this doesn't really make sense to me because mom explained it this way. And then you're working with the kids to want change. And it looks like dad is the one, the narcissist is the one who is refusing the change. If you don't work with the kids that way and let them know what's going on and tell them truth. And I know you and I get a lot of flack. Oh, you shouldn't tell the kids the truth of what's going on.
Which is ridiculous. You lose. They have no idea. They're going to side with the guy that's been lying to them for 10 years.
Exactly. They need that truth. It's such an important step if they want. They need that to feel secure. They need it to trust you as their non-narcissist.
And God is a God of truth. What you're doing is encouraging someone to lie to her children.
Yes.
Lie to protect them? Yeah. No. It's far different from a normal marriage where you're going through some financial stresses or something's happening. You're in love, you have a good marriage, and you might protect the kids for a period of time.
Yes.
Okay, that's different. This is a whole different animal. Yeah, we're going to let you know what's happening. Then to tell the truth, and then ongoing as dad lies and does his thing, you're going to keep pointing it out.
Yes, and
Let's
teach them
discuss
what
this.
to do in those circumstances. But it's very important to keep that relationship open and honest, and that they know that they can come to you with any question, any concern, and you're gonna tell them the truth, age appropriate truth.
Well, that's right. That's right. We're careful with that. You know, the best book I ever read about preparing your children to deal with the narc. Written by yourself. This is, and there's nothing like it. Don't let
their crazy make your kids crazy. It's all crazy talk. That's the third book, Crazy Talk. But
that's coming up, right?
Yeah, but don't let their crazy make your kids crazy. Yeah. So working with the kids. But I do, right in one of the beginning chapters, talk about age-appropriate truth and how important it is. And then you start general based on the age of the children, and then if they need more, you give them more specifics. Yeah. So it's.
Oh, I think it's perfect.
Really
and it's very practical, a lot of examples. That's going to protect your relationship with your kids. Nothing's sadder than a mom divorcing a narc and then losing the kids.
Yes.
Oh, I tell them, look, you've already lost them. We're trying to get them back. That's why before the divorce, we're going to get them hopefully on board.
Yes.
Turn things around. And also, of course, if they're disrespecting you, disobeying you, treating you like garbage, like they've been taught by the narc, you're going to change that too.
Yes.
You're
don't
not
want to
going to allow that.
Overcompensate, which I see happen a lot. The non-narcissistic parent will overcompensate.
Right.
And then there's no respect. And so we have to, kids need structure, even if they say they don't want it. They need it. It helps them feel secure. Like they're not, even if they want to call all the shots, if they are calling all the shots, at some level, they know, wait a minute here. Now that's going to cause a level of anxiety because they're a kid or they're a teen. So.
And you're going through the divorce, of course, as you mentioned before, the narc will buy them gifts, all kinds of freedoms.
The bribery.
Inappropriate. Yeah. Oh my God, Disneyland dad every day, wants to be their friend, wants to win them over. Of course, when you have them, you can't do that. You're going to have the structure, going to have the limits. They'll hate that. Too bad. And if it gets so bad that they're old enough, well, I'm not going to live with you. You let them go, as hard as that would be. Okay? This is the way I'm raising you the way God would have me raise you. I'm not going to compromise on that.
And I would tell my boys over and over again, I have a job from God, and I love this job. It's to teach, train, and equip you for life so that you understand who God is, His love is, and and understand how to get along with people in society. So take or leave what I have to say, but it's my job. This is between me and God, and I'm going to teach you in this.
It's going to come out of my mouth, and there'll be consequences. Right. And of course, the narc's not going to teach him anything that.
No.
All the bad stuff.
They just want to have a good time. The narcissistic parent just wants to have a good time with their kids. So,
and if I can win, if I'm the narc and I can win the kids over to my side, that thrills my evil heart. Because then it's like to everybody else, well, the kids, it must be her fault because the kids love me.
And that's the 1-2 punch I see happen more than anything. Bribery and giving them freedoms and gifts and trips and things like that. And then also triangulation. So that's where they're bad-mouthing that parent. And I see that they use those two an awful lot.
Then he'll be dating some skank. Of course, you're still married. I was hoping to get the word skank in. Anyway, and then she just, they love her. Because she's cool. She's probably 20 years old. Her name is Bambi, whatever. But she's having fun with them and just sucking up to them. And so it's like, wow. And she's a dirtball too.
Right.
Or just stupid or whatever. Sinful.
And then sometimes the non-narcissistic parent, that just drives them crazy because they see this attachment forming.
Right.
And
they seem closer to this interloper, this miserable person, than you. You're the mom because you're the only one holding the line.
Right.
And saying, here's the way we're going to live. And of course, God's way always works.
And it really is more attractive long term. It's just when they're children and teens. And you have to come up with plans of action to neutralize that. You cannot stop that narcissistic parent from being narcissistic.
They'll never stop.
Don't confront them, I say. Don't try to figure out how you're going to neutralize that behavior. You're better off working with the kids and the teens than you are.
Right.
Because if you let that narcissistic parent know that it bothers you, what are they going to do?
Oh, that's it. Another very good point. I'm trying to train them. You don't care. You have to act like of course you do, but you're like, hey, whatever, do whatever you want. Then there's no gain for the guy.
And they get a power fix knowing they've upset you.
Oh, they love that.
Yeah.
And of course, that's why I wrote my divorce recovery book. After the divorce, it doesn't stop.
No.
You know that personally.
Yes.
It never quits. Anyway, your boys are doing wonderfully. They're fine young men.
Yes.
But, it never kind of stops. So you have to heal from what's happened and continue to hold the line even afterwards because he never quits.
No. So I don't want people to think, life is going to be good if I stay. No, it's not. It's going to be
horrible. You're so much better off divorcing.
It's going to be horrible while you're going through the divorce process, but then it's going to get so much better.
True. And even though you have to deal with them afterwards, as you heal and hold the boundaries, you have freedom. You're not living with him. You're at peace. You're not tied to him, legally. And so it is better, even though it's tough. And we have the materials to help them. Yes,
exactly.
we do.
And you'll kind of get into a groove of knowing how they're going to act. Yeah. So you just kind of plan for that, and it becomes par for the course, so it doesn't blindside you and shock you. So
you're out of that mode of, gosh, I hope he changes. You've figured it out.
Exactly. So with child support, if you have it set up where they're supposed to pay you 2 times a month, and
guess who won't?
Exactly. They want to be pursued. They like the attention.
Yeah, right.
So that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
That's just part of the deal. So do the reach out. I just want to remind you. And then don't get upset about it. Just get to that place of acceptance. Like, this is part of what I have to deal with. And then just do it. And then you're doing it for the kids. You're doing it to get the child.
And you make it cut and dry.
You're not doing it for the narcissist.
No, because he ain't never going to change. If it doesn't seem to bother you, then maybe he'll drop it. And of course, in a weird kind of a way, we wouldn't wish him on any woman, but there's enough skanks out there, who cares about them, that he finds somebody else and is at least distracted.
Yes.
Okay, that's something.
Right.
And he moves on.
And you can almost predict, okay, he probably broke up with someone else because now I'm getting a lot of negative behavior. I'm getting a lot of him trying to be involved with the kids.
Lost his supply.
Yeah.
What a nightmare.
And then when he finds somebody else, then the kids go into the discard pile again. And so you have to really just work with your kids a lot about educating them on healthy relationships and that.
He'll be back. and kind of draw them in again. It's just kind of watching that. And of course, as the kids get older, you've seen that, they get it. They understand it. Here's my dad. Okay, he's a narcissist. I love my dad. Here's how I manage him. Here's the truth about dad, and I manage him.
And figure out how much closeness and how much distance they need to have a healthy relationship. So I see a lot of adult children of narcissists where maybe they just, go to dinner around holidays, or maybe they'll watch dinner occasionally.
Watch a ball game or something. But nothing, it's never going to be deep and intimate.
Right.
He can't do that anyway.
And he doesn't want to learn.
But no, and he placates them. Even a lot of these ladies, you fight for at least 50-50 and maybe more than that in the divorce process, custody. But I say, look, most of the cases I have, even if he wants to look good, of course, and get 50-50 or more, he's not going to end up spending that much time with them.
That's a great point. Don't fight for that, because they're going to move on, and they're going to get distracted and do something else. So let it be 50-50 on paper. My guess, a lot of them that I work with, it ends up you're going to have them 90% of the time anyway.
I see that in almost every case. They'll threaten, I'm going to get full custody. No, you won't. Or 50-50, and then they think, I'm not going to have him 50% of the time. Or no, you're going to have him a lot more than that. And of course, these ladies, if he can't do the weekend, you go, oh, that's fine. Fine, I get to have them. Don't worry, he'll have some bogus excuse.
Yes.
Okay, he's got women to chase and casinos to go to and whatever he likes to do, golf, whatever it could be.
Or just work a lot. So.
And the kids are, because he has to work because you took all his money. Whatever.
The kids are being babysat by technology.
Well.
So.
Right. So that's not going to be a problem because they're so doggone selfish. They don't want to be around kids. They want an hour here, an hour there, right? A meal or something.
Yes.
Or they'll dump them on,
if
he has parents in the area, he'll dump them on them.
Then, so there's all kinds of, I used to say flavors of narcissism. So that's one kind, like the Disneyland dad, the super charismatic, just let the kids do whatever they want. Yeah. They'll give them whatever they want.
And they'll love me and we'll be fine.
Then you have the other kind that is super controlling, monitors everything that the kids are doing. They're enmeshed with the kids. Yeah, they're getting their all their worth out of who their kids are. And so they're over involved in the kid's life, and that creates a whole host of problems, that enmeshment.
Yeah, wants to make all the decisions.
Makes all the decisions, and the kids, they make them very anxious if the kids want to say no or go out with their friends if they're teenagers.
Yeah, you have to help the kids with that too, how to manage that.
The enmeshment.
Well, yeah.
I thought in the book too. There's a chapter on enmeshment.
Yeah, good. So, well, perfect.
Yeah, so they're typically, they go in one or the other direction. Either they're wanting super control or they just want to have fun.
Yeah. But when you have your children, let's say it's even half the time, and it'll be more than that, you control that.
Yes.
And following God's principles, no interference, and that makes all the difference.
It does.
Living with one, you're discounted, and you don't have the impact you'd like to have. Everything's countered.
So, and not being afraid, it might be rough for a while, but if you're honest with them, if you're teaching them about structure, that we need those tools in order to exist as grown-ups. I've seen, even if they might be estranged for a while, if the non-narcissistic parent is estranged from their kids for a while, I've seen them return. Later on, once those adult children, they become adults, they're out there in the world, and they're like, wow, my mom was right.
Dad's way doesn't work. And they can see, and of course, they're strong enough now to say, Dad, I'm not going to spend time with you this weekend.
Yes.
I love my mom. I'm talking to her more. And they'll get the backlash, but they're strong enough, they don't care.
Yes.
The smaller child, that's a rough, because he'll reject them.
Yes.
He is dead set on having them all to himself. All the glory and attention and power. Well, but they'll figure it out. And that's a beautiful thing. He'll have the world's biggest fit.
And I also say with the small children, if he chooses to date somebody right away, look at it, that's an extra set of eyes on a small child, because I know that's, oh my goodness, eats it up inside, just wondering, is he caring?
Is he even safe with him? Right.
Yeah. So, and the laws are all reactive, not proactive, so there's nothing you can really do to prevent that timeshare in that case. But if he chooses to date somebody, it's an extra set of eyes to protect your little one.
True. And God is faithful, I think, to protect them. And as we said earlier, the time with them will go down.
Yes.
And you will never have a problem. This was my weekend. I had plans. Never. Fine, Bob, Timmy, whatever. Go ahead. I don't care. That's fine with me. You never kick and fuss. Yeah. Things have a way of working out if you just stay the course, and the truth becomes clear to them.
Yeah.
And then you're in good shape. But boy, these ladies don't realize with the young kids, well, I am, if I'm with them though, I can train them and I can protect them. And I hate when they're so small. I said, it's not working. You're losing. He is having much more influence than you now. You're losing them now.
Yes.
Now, if you've done that, no regrets. God can turn anything around. It's okay. But man, the sooner the better.
Exactly.
Well, I want to get them through high school. Don't wait that long.
No.
Or there's some special time. No, do it as soon as you can. As we talk about, you're preparing them. You're getting them ready.
And
Okay.
you have to teach them. It might not be convenient timing, but we have to take a stand for righteousness, and we have to trust that the Lord will provide for us during that time. So we can't have all these excuses like now's not a good time. We have this coming up. We have that coming up, because there's always going to be stuff coming
There's
up.
always something. Valentine's Day, whatever. Right. And of course, they'll see living with the narc. Of course, there's two separate homes, godly home, hopefully. And then, of course, the one that divorced them, and then his home. They'll see the chaos, the drama, the different relationships, the selfishness, the horrible moods. Because I'll tell these ladies, eventually, we've got the triangulation taken care of. You have divorced him. He can't drag you in. You're not allowing that. Well, he's going to turn on those kids. He's going to be who he is. And they're going to see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Dad, can you take me? It's your weekend. I've got this special volleyball game. No, I can't do that. I'm dating Bambi or whatever he's got. Oh.
Right.
Whoa.
Right. And that's why I say kids need to be treated as people, not properties. So their activity, build as much as you can into the divorce decree, the parenting plan, because then he'll be in contempt. So if the child is in extracurricular activities, then that parent needs to be in that parenting plan that time-sharing parent will be taking them to those events.
Right.
Because you want to be able to use everything and file a contempt charge.
Right.
That's
and
just giving you
document
leverage.
all that. Exactly. And you have a case. He's thinking you won't take him back to court. You will if you have to.
Right.
Or at least you can threaten that and maybe get some leverage.
Instead of threatening, I say reminding them.
Well, see, you're so much nicer. Well, you wouldn't say to him, I'm threatening you. You'd say, here's what's going to happen.
Yes,
Up
I'm
to you.
reminding you
Free country. Yes.
of the parenting plan.
Right. And the kids, they start to get it. Well, because mom wouldn't miss that. She would take me to that. But it's not her week. And you're not going to do it if it's not your week.
Yes.
You shouldn't swoop in and save the day.
And so if you build that in, if he can't take them, then you take them. You can take them to that practice or that game.
If that's part of the plan, but if it's not, then I wouldn't do it.
Yes.
It hurts the kid, but hey.
It sounds silly, but I say the more you do, the more you front end it, the less you're going to have to do in the back end, and the more leverage you have to remind him of a contempt charge.
Yeah. And the judges don't like that. Courts will respond to that. And your attorney should know all that, just how to front load that and get everything in that agreement that will protect you.
Well, and I say also develop a relationship with an attorney, and then you might just call and say, hey, can you send them a reminder letter?
Right. Let
What
that be
happens
handled.
if you don't pay the child support or...
True, because the attorney can write a letter. If they know what they're doing, that's pretty, get the message across.
Right.
There's an implied threat there.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen if you don't.
Right, so you have the leverage to remind them. You remind them. If that doesn't work, then you have the attorney remind. Then you file for a contempt.
And then you tell your kids everything. Not to trash him, simply here's what's happening.
Right.
He's not done this. He's not done that. He's not paying me this. That's why there isn't money for your special thing. He didn't take you to that practice. That was his decision. And so they know what's happening. Not maybe the whole thing, but enough so they know, oh, Dad's dropping the ball here.
And that's so important on so many levels. One is kids are smart. They're perceptive. They know you're anxious about something, you're preoccupied, you're working on something, they know. But they're so egocentric that they think, oh, mom's a little edgy today. I must have done something wrong.
Right.
So you have to let them know hey, if I'm a little edgy, if I'm a little weepy, this is what I'm having to deal with. Right. So there's so many reasons to be honest with the kids.
True. And that says that strong truth, because the narc's not ever going to tell them the truth. Right. Yeah, that way you can stay connected. And then it gives them, this explains why mom's upset here and anxious. Plus, they get the information. This is what dad is like. This is what's happening. And they can start to see the differences. And I would never ask a kid, we don't want the kid to confront the narc. Don't even bother.
No, because they're going to get the same behavior as the
right. Your head taken off.
Yes.
And unless you've got someone who's a really tough kid, they're old enough. But yeah, a younger kid, no. You just play along, you manage him, tell me the truth, as the other parent, and we'll deal with this. But yeah, unless you're looking for a bruising.
Yeah. If the kids cannot hear you say he's a narcissist or anything,
no, you don't want to use the term.
That to that parent, they're gonna get backlash for that. But on the flip side of that, you want them, if they're being treated in a way that is abusive or disrespectful, you want them to say that's not okay and tell somebody so that they can get some intervention, they can get some help. So.
Well, right. Yeah, we don't throw that term around, right? It's here's the behavior, here's what he's saying, here's what he's doing. This is wrong, very biblically specific. Sinful, harmful. And if they can start to talk to you about it, I'll tell these moms, you have your children, you want a relationship where they can know they can come to you with anything. Dad says something, does something that bothers you, come to me. I won't say anything to him, ever. It'll be between you and I, unless there's something I have to report. We will talk, I'll set the record straight, and then, I will say nothing to him about that.
Well, and if they are, in fact, abusive, you don't force timeshare. So, you know how certain counselors prioritize the marriage? Do not prioritize being compliant with the timeshare over the well-being of the kids.
Well, right.
So you document everything. Right. It was time for timeshare. Johnny said he didn't want to go.
Right.
I asked why. He said, because dad hits me.
And you're writing it down.
Yeah, or dad, is passed out drunk. Right. Okay, then you don't put your child, you don't force timeshare on that. You document why you withheld timeshare. Right.
And if it wants to make a case about it, then you've got the documentation.
Exactly.
Because your kid's crying and scared, you're not going.
Right, because you're abusive toward that child, you're putting him or her in
Yes, if you drop him off under those circumstances, I'm 0 for 2 here.
Don't you work with a lot of, let's just say, women who are scared that they're going to be out of compliance with the timeshare?
They think they have to. Right.
Force the child into the timeshare position, and
then you're abusive too. No, that's worth fighting. You die on that hill. If he takes me to court, so be it.
Right.
I am protecting you, and so in the long run, the kid knows that.
Right.
I'm not making you go. And of course, what is it? 12, 13, depends on the state. But there's an age where they can say, and the court's not going to force them. I'm not seeing dad this weekend. I'm not seeing dad this week. I'm not going to live with my dad anymore. Okay. That's okay. I'm not going to force it. You're old enough.
And then that's where you can get a parent coordinator involved. And you can work with that parent coordinator and say, this is why he doesn't want to go timeshare. And then that parent coordinator can give that information if it comes up in court. Because
you want some firepower.
What narcissists will do is they'll try to get a parental alienation case against the non-narcissistic
Well,
parent.
Exactly. She's holding the kid back from me.
Right.
Of course, you've documented it. Plus, you have the parent coordinator. Your attorney's on the job. All this takes money, but it's money well spent because you're protecting your children.
Yes.
And then, because the court wants evidence, and somebody else coming in speaking to it. Right. Because the kid, someone that knows what they're doing could, even a counselor could interview the child and get the information and also be called to court.
Yes.
Not you and I. We don't go to court. However, but there's people that do that for a living, and that's fine. Okay, I'm protecting my children. I will always do that. And if the chips fall, okay.
The only way we have to go to court, but you're not doing anymore. I know I'm not doing in-office counseling where my records would be subpoenaed by a judge, but that's the only way.
Right.
So.
And there's plenty of counselors that we know one in particular who loves going to court. We won't mention his or her name. I mean, who would want that anyway?
Yes.
But there are trained professionals and they work with children. That's going to be part of it, and they know that. And of course, they're paid to do it, and they're an independent evaluator. Fine, but I think we're on the right track. We've covered a lot of material here.
We have.
I think I don't know.
Can you think of anything else?
I don't think I can.
Andy can
He can.
chop it.
He's a
all.
pro. Andy can do it. We trust Andy.
So
We miss Andy at Bay Hope. I want Andy to know
You
that.
didn't talk about your book. You didn't hold up
Oh,
the book.
I can show that. Let's just show your books too. At the end, we'll show the books here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, this is the one I was talking about with all the skills.
Right.
It's really a lot of counseling sessions I had with when I was seeing kids and teens and
Right.
all the skills I would work with them.
Right.
So
I
I'm
think it's
gonna just put
ideal
it-
for what we're talking about. And I don't see anything else like that anywhere in the Christian realm, let alone non-Christian. And my book, if you're divorcing a narc, and hopefully you are, then this is the book for you, Escaping Your Narcissist. Step by step, how to prepare, get your kids ready, and then step by step, the legal process, do's and don'ts to get rid of this dirtball. So, yeah, we're selling a lot of these. God's been good,
Yeah.
and I think it's really helping people.
Well, and I think you saying dirtball and skank, like it's very healing for.
And it's fun for me, so it's a win-win.
Yeah, I have a different style. I don't say those.
No, that's not
words.
your thing.
I'm more one to just let people know they're heard and they're,
Right.
that the circumstances, you're going to get
Yeah.
through it. There's help out there. God talks about all this in the Bible. There's strategy scriptures
He-
all over the Bible
He
dealing
does.
with biblically foolish narcissism.
Right.
So,
Oh, yeah.
we have
The
different
Bible's
styles,
on
but
our
same
side. The
message.
church doesn't know that. No.
So if
And
you
as
need
you
a
said
dose of
before-
righteous anger,
I'm your guy. I will get you mad.
if you need
Yes.
some wisdom on how to help your kids or
Yeah.
strategies on how to interact, then
Yeah.
we have the same message, same heart.
We do. Different styles, which is fun. It makes it fun. Mm-hmm. If you're the same, there's nothing to, there's no sparks. There's nothing, that's any fun.
Yes.
Cool.
So we'll keep doing these.
I think we need to. And we should ask for feedback from people, for all of our people. If you want this to continue, then let us know.
Yes.
We'll
And
do it anyway.
I think the last time we did one was, a year ago or something?
Man, it had to have been.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Yeah.
Because it's fun. So we'll probably do it anyway. But if we want more, then if they want more, let's do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's a good idea. We can maybe send an email blast
Yeah.
to our email communities.
See what they think.
What you want more of, what you want less of.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Well, thank you for coming.
Well, my pleasure. It's fun.